Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A real pleasure to be with you here at the 2025 Berlinale. Maybe we could begin with a brief introduction to your film, Shadowbox, for people who haven't watched it yet. What can they expect going in?
Shadowbox is a film about a woman and her love and her resilience and her love for her family. She has to battle many things to keep her family together. What people are expecting is also to see this wonderful story of resilience and love. Rest they can watch and they can see what else they can find there.
Yeah, maybe you can tell us a bit about the genesis of the project in the sense that you sort of both had personal connections to it and they were sort of became combined or intertwined in the story we see there. So maybe you can start with, what initially sparked the idea, but how you collaborated together with the character and story.
I have grown up as a child. I have grown up watching my very loving father sometimes behave in a strange manner which we didn't understand. And then only when we were old and it was quite late that we understood that it was depression. And even though it was a love marriage for my mother, it was a rebellion to have a love marriage. It was interesting with this film of both me and my partner. He's also my life partner, my co-director. So we kind of wanted to explore and understand what is this love, what is this resilience that these, because I saw my mother really fight for him and fight to keep their marriage together. And her love the love was never lost in spite of all the hardship. So I wanted to understand that. And this film for us was an exploration of that. It's a very personal way to look at mental distress and how a family handles that. So it's from the point of view of a caregiver. And that's how it began.
Tanushree came with her very personal background with the story. I also, it kind of merged my childhood memories as well. I had a friend in school whose father thought that he was God, who would interrupt classes, and he used to, some children would laugh, but my friend would be he was very proud of his father, and would do anything to defend him. And when we were about 9, my friend's father got run over by a train while he was trying to stop a train. A year later, when we were asked to, we had an assignment to write about a hero, and most of the children wrote about sportsmen and so on. My friend wrote about his father. So it was, that memory stayed with me, and this film was also kind of trying to understand what that family would have been like, and to understand, a child put in a position of responsibility with his own father, and looking at the caregiving role within a family, and to see mental distress not from a clinical point of view but from a point of view of love.
Yeah, and it is interesting, I guess, to sort of maybe flip the perspective in a way to see it from the point of view of the caregiver, and maybe to bring you into the conversation. Maya, what a fascinating character to play. I mean, she's someone I think is always trying to kind of keep a sense of poise and elegance, but underneath, there's so much going on, like a swan kind of, with their legs under the water. And I know you were sort of really involved in shaping the character as well, along the project. So can you tell us a bit about your approach to playing her?
And not in any sequence of importance, but there were a few threads that became, rivulets and then stronger currents as time passed in the last 5-6 years. The initial threads that drew me to the film and its world were the makers, their sense of integrity and gentleness. I seek it. I thirst for that gentleness because it's a very tough world that we're living in, with just crisis at every corner and a sense of disrespect and lack of dignity, just everywhere globally. And it's very difficult to be immune to it. It's very hard to not break down in the face of it, unless you can save yourself through certain stories and people that you surround yourself with. So for me, the primary thread was really the people who were making it, and that's Somo and Tanushree. The second was thematically personal, as I was suddenly thrown into a role of a caregiver when I turned 40, and it coincided with the harsh pandemic and what it looked like in terms of just the sheer body count of death and suffering that was the truth that surrounded us. So the film was born out of that time, which was very challenging universally, and challenging for us as people who were in a certain age in our lives where it was not about us and our dreams and our careers and our place in the world as women. And what we actually suddenly were like, gosh, we are talking about the same things in our everyday lives, and we're talking about the same things in our work. So the concurrence of having a mother who's held our family together in ways that were so invisible that we never celebrated it until she fell sick for me. And that's when the whole house and its blueprint became clear, how she was holding on to all of us, and made us work as a unit. So to have a chance to play Maya at this stage in my life was really a cathartic, and B, it helped me anchor the madness that I felt, just the exhaustion that comes with this it's endless, and it's all around you. And a corridor of women appear in front of you when you're going through that liminal space between sanity and insanity, as you're trying to hold on, to your family and do the best that you can. But the chores never end, no matter how efficiently you walk through time in a day. So I could really relate to Maya's schedule, and for me, where are her moments of leisure? It is in her work, ironically. So the theme of the invisible labor of women coincided with my own having to give up my aspirations as an artist and my creative pursuits of sitting at a desk doing nothing for hours. That life changed very dramatically as one became a caregiver. But at that time, to be able to foment a story like this, to be a part of this world, our concentric circles, there's a universality to what women are speaking up to, and what their bodies are now screaming out in many ways. And I was very relieved that this film doesn't scream, because it's tiring. As I question my own personal activism, and it's what kind of form it'll take. I know it's not going to be an angry one, because anger is really exhausting, and I'm very happy to subscribe to their world of love.
And I guess for you guys, having this incredible actress to, it's not that usual one of, okay, we're the directors and you're the actor and here's the script. And, it seems like it's been an incredibly rich and fruitful collaboration. You've been involved from the beginning, shaping the character. So what has it been like for you working with her as Maya?
The collaborations have been beautiful also because, like I said, because we became friends. So when you become friends, it stopped being just work. Sometimes you call up like this. Sometimes we start talking, and maybe because you're a woman, she opened up just now. We start talking, and then that talk goes somewhere and goes to some other thought. Collaboration was also part of the friendship. And so therefore it was very simple and everyday, like living, like working, like making something. And also the fact that what Maya did and what Maya does, which are everyday, very mundane chores. So then we also started realizing how there is drama, which is like a subterranean river flowing through everyday chore of cooking, cleaning, standing, waiting, trying to figure out things. But there's something else going underneath. So for us, collaboration is that, like life.
I can speak a little more also to the process of the writing, where when we started writing, thinking of Tillotama as the lead. That was before we'd spoken to her, and but once she came on board, it was many years before we actually shot the film, and so Tillotama was involved in multiple rereads of different drafts. And there was one particular moment I'd like to share that we changed her character quite a lot, and she was very upset and called and said that this is not who Maya is. Maya wouldn't do this. Maya would do this. And it was. It was but it was a very moving and wonderful moment for us to know that Maya was someone real now. That there was someone who was ready to fight for what she is. Well, I mean, she's a figment of our imagination till then, but now it had become concrete. So
She was there.
So with all this years of preparation, when we actually went to shoot, there was actually not much discussion. We didn't need to, we didn't need to direct Tillotama that much, but that had all happened over the years of script writing.
And maybe you can talk a bit about working with your co-stars as well, because there's so much complexity in these relationships. With Maya, with her partner, there's love there, but there's also resentment, and then there's also, that tension with the son as well. So how did you work with Chandan and Sayan to build on those dynamics and I guess have that sense of history that's gone before what we see on screen?
Speaking to Somo's and Tanushree's process of writing the script, I haven't seen people who rewrote as much as they did. The advantage of that is all those drafts live in you as ghosts, and they exert a certain force. I think the unconscious is really powerful, and much as we'd like to be pragmatic people who just like to walk into set with a shoot draft, all those drafts live in you and have a way of growing and suddenly exerting a punch when you least expect it, and you're living with those things inside you. So a lot of Chandan, a lot of Sundar, and the son and the husband lived in me because of those drafts. And that was one. Second was the workshop that this amazing practitioner called Anamika Haksar, who's been a mentor to them, to us when I was in college. She's an amazing theatre practitioner, an amazing aesthete. And she did a workshop with the family. And in that workshop, what was tremendous for me was actually just observing my actors' bodies and where they hold what I imagined to be their grief, in which parts of their body. She also did an interesting exercise with Maya and her cycle, and the cycle transformed into whatever Maya wanted it to be. And that exercise was extremely powerful, going into it fired something in my head. But with the relationship of the husband, for me, was a combination of course, the stories they had shared with me, but also of an uncle who was very, very exciting when I was younger. He lived in a forest. He had a very colorful life. He used to go to places that we had only read about in books that were really inaccessible, that were politically very charged, so people didn't get to travel there much. So he had the wildest of stories, but as he started staying with the family more and less within that space that we'd heard about, when he came back and started spending more time with the family, we realized how intolerable his presence was. Grand adventures began to grate because the rest of his behavior was so erratic and so vindictive, and it was so easy to hate him. It's only when I grew older that I realized he wasn't well. And by then it was so late that we couldn't handle him physically, because he was seeing things that we couldn't see. He was entering spaces that, he shouldn't be driving a car because he really can't see the road. He was constant paranoia of people stealing things from him. And I had to suddenly contend with feeling sympathy for a man I had so well placed in my hate, and then when the family had to make the decision that we can't handle him physically, and he needs to go into a facility of assisted living. That's the time when this film came to me. It felt like I saw, I think, Sundar's character a lot was being nicer to me fictionally trying to be nicer to my uncle that I never was when he was around. And he passed away 2 days before we came to Berlin. And it feels like, it completes something. And I think art has the power to do that, to be able to heal us, in certain ways. Yeah. And look forward that we don't make the mistake with people who we will meet in the future, and that we can read the signs and be there. It's really easy to be angry and to hate, but to stick around, it's not even feminism, it's humanism,
What do you ultimately hope people are going to take away from watching this film? I mean, I guess you're throwing a spotlight on the struggles of someone like Maya, but she's never a victim. It seems like a celebration also of resilience too, and as you said, of empathy with others that are going through different things.
Two things. One is that I am also trying to understand, because I'm also a mother and I'm a working mother, and what I'm trying to understand is what is that we celebrate? Should we and I want to celebrate when someone just stands by what he or she believes, irrespective of gender, just to stand by what you believe and to struggle and do whatever it takes to make that happen. For me, that is a rebellion. And I think these little rebellion is what is running the world right now against this huge, big power structures that is trying to destroy humanity in so many ways. And for me, that is why every Maya is important. And it is beautiful you said that, because our premiere happened yesterday and so many people came and told me that they remember their mom, their aunts, their aunties they have forgotten, and suddenly they are noticing and remembering things. Our friend who was hosting the party yesterday, she told me that she remembered her childhood in East Berlin when she was a child. And for me, that is what I want to take. I have come with this story to share and listen to your story. We have come here to connect. We want to connect to the world. We want to become that mycelium that is hidden, like our efforts as women, those hidden things that we do. And we want to become that mycelium of love and connect everything. I love mycelium. I love termites. They have the power, the little things you don't see, but they change the world. And so I want that from my audience and people.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all that with me.
Yes, thank you.
Huge congratulations on the film.